Nom Nom delivers fresh food with whole ingredients backed by veterinarian science. Science tells us that a dog's health starts in the bowl, so improving their diet is one of the best ways to help them live a long and happy life. Nom Nom's food is full of proteins your dog loves and the vitamins and nutrients they need to thrive. All you have to do is order, pour, and serve. Ready to make the switch to fresh? Order Nom Nom today. Go to https://trynom.com/curveball and get 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's https://trynom.com/curveball. Plus, Nom Nom comes with a money-back guarantee. If your dog's tail isn't wagging within 30 days, Nom Nom will refund your first order. No fillers, no nonsense, just Nom Nom. Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, we're going to be talking about depth healing as I am joined by Dr. G. Dr. G has an extensive bio and he's been doing this stuff for 51 years using cutting edge quantum physics. So we're going to be talking to him about everything that he's up to, and he says he enjoys helping people, so we're going to let him tell you how he likes to help people. So Dr. G, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So I'm a Canadian. I live in Thailand now 9 years. I moved here 2015. And I'm a distance healer, folks. I was a licensed doctor in Georgia, and I graduated in Texas, and I had practices in Georgia and in Tennessee, and then I moved over here. I am both connected with high-end quantum physics and sophisticated forms of energy healing, and I'm also highly connected with mysticism and mystics. So I have what happened was because of my strong bond with the divine, the Param Jyoti, the great compassionate light, has evolved me and taught me how to be a distance healer. I never dreamed of being a distance healer. I hadn't even really heard of one. And it was all introduced to me, and then it's evolved and evolved and evolved. Now I'm helping people all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are, because in actual reality, distance doesn't mean anything. And that's all hardline science and that, but it's what happens is I'm like a life engineer, because I work at the causal level. So in my work, whether you have a chronic disease, whether you're injured, if you have a broken heart, if you're lonely, if you need your business to grow, you need to make more money, you're scared, you have anger, doesn't matter what it is, I serve all branches of society, irregardless of what the issue is. And the biggest thing I bring to the table is I can use morphic field physics, what I call morphic field physics. What that means is I'm able to clear the problems of huge collectives of people at one time. So let's say I have a couple thousand people in a collective, and they all are afraid. They all have fear of success. I can remove the fear of success for all 1,000 or a couple thousand at the same time. So that's what I call morphic field physics. And that means that I operate in the cloud, not in the individual. So it's the reverse. So it's sort of like if the couple thousand people are all laptops and they're all connected to the Google cloud, the cloud is a morphic field. It's a big gigantic electromagnetic field, and the information is stored in the field in the form of photons of light. So that the laptops can access the cloud, and it's a feed forward, feed backward system. See, so what happens is if I have a collective, I will operate in the cloud and feed the result back down to the laptops, to the people. So it's my work is very interesting, but I have like a 98, 99% success rate. I really don't care what the challenge is, as long as there's enough time, as long as we can find the problem, we can solve it. Because I'm using the energies that actually create the problems in the first place. Most of my work is done in the subconscious mind. Does that help answer that question? Oh, and
Yeah.
the other side of me, folks, my first and foremost, I'm a martial specialist. So my first some 45, 46 years, I carry 3 samurai lineages on my shoulders. I used to teach the all branches of the military, special ops, force recon, Marines, Air Force, everybody. I'm a martial specialist. And then I retired as a professional sensei in the year 2000. And then I went back to school in my 40s to become a licensed doctor. So that's the first part of me is my martial background. It's classical samurai, and I'm trained for fundamental urban warfare, things like that. So that, and then I become a doctor. But my whole life is basically one theme. I serve. So I'm serving the craft, I'm serving my clients, I'm serving my students, but I'm always serving. That's what I do. Okay.
Amazing. Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk about chronic anxiety and talk about how you help people get rid of their negative behaviors and all the things that contribute to chronic anxiety.
Yeah, especially nowadays, the way everything is, anxiety has never been so high as it is now. So you're asking me some good questions, and you need a little bit of background. So to understand anxiety or where everything is coming from, you have to understand how we're wired. Okay, so we have you can think of we can use the term mind. We have 2 minds. So you have the subconscious and you have the conscious. And the trick is we're created by God in the universe. For the first 6 years of your life, your subconscious mind is running everything, and the only thing it's doing is it's like a vacuum cleaner. All it's doing is absorbing and recording, and it absorbs and records literally. The subconscious mind it begins in the womb, and it records at a rate of 40 million bits of information per second, 24/7. It never shuts down. 24/7, 40 million bits of information. And when you turn 7, the frontal cortex, the front of your brain that's just above your eyes, it kicks in, it turns on. But it is not turned on until that age. Why? It's a survival mechanism. Wherever you're born, in the family you're born in the area, the geophysical area that you're born in, you need tons and tons and tons of information to be able to operate in and successfully live in that arena. So if we have a little boy that's born in the Amazon Delta in a village, and we have another little boy that's being born in an apartment in Manhattan, New York, the environments that they're being born in are utterly and totally different. So they require the information that will let them live and operate in those environments. So the biggest trick to that is the first 6 years, none of the information belongs to us. It's our mom and dad and the house and our brothers and sisters and the television and everything and anything except us. And you don't choose any of it. All you do is record it. And that becomes your fundamental software. Like if the person is a computer, you have a brand new computer, we'll say that's the baby. You take the baby out of the box, they take the computer out of the box, that's when they're born. And then in order to use that computer, you got to download all the various software. Once you have all the software in, then you can start to make choices. That's when so at the age of 7, the brain turns on in the front of your brain, and now it can make decisions. But how does it do that? It does it by running everything it encounters through the subconscious database. And what's the big deal about that? Whatever's in the subconscious database is going to give your brain that you're thinking with its perceptions. So the perception, like a farmer perceives cow manure, wet cow manure all over the place as wonderful. A Manhattan businessman with $600 shoes considers wet manure, it's terrible. And it's E. coli and flies and it stinks and all that kind of stuff. It's the perception. So what's the big deal about perception? Perception gives you your frequency. It gives you your vibration. And your vibration gives you your life. It gives you everything and anything. And we call that resonance. So you have 2 primary laws to understand to negotiate life. The law of perception and the law of resonance. That runs everything. And the perception is made through the subconscious mind. That gives you your vibration. And then the vibration by resonance, either it will attract to you whatever. Now, the anxiety, if we want to talk about anxiety, first of all, going back decades after decades after decades, as soon as you're born and raised, everyone is entering life where everyone's been programmed and taught and programmed, taught fear. And that you're weak, everything's is in danger. Nowadays, that's how they control the world. That's how all this pandemic nonsense, they run that. All they did was they created a morphic field based on fear, because everyone is already pre-programmed for pandemics, for viruses. You're programmed. As soon as you're sick, you got to run to the doctor. The doctor has the answers. The answers are medicine. All that stuff is complete trash, just nonsense. I am never sick, folks. I've hurt my body through all my martial training, but you could pour a bucket of COVID over my head, and all I do is have a glass of wine and smoke a cigar. It's completely useless nonsense. But what's happened is everyone's brain has been programmed for fear, and then in your brain there's a little tiny organ called the amygdala. The amygdala is what its job is. It searches 24/7 for anything that can hurt you or anything that's dangerous. The moment that that little amygdala gets lit up, it fires off cortisol. And the cortisol is a stress hormone. And if the amygdala gets lit really bright, the blood in your brain, it moves back from the front of your head where you think, and you literally become dumber. You go really subconscious. Now, the subconscious mind's already running 95%. Science has agreed it's running 95% of our day. And the conscious brain is only operating 5% of the day maximum. Now, the way they've run the media and the way they've programmed all the kids through school and the parents, and it just goes generation to generation. They prime and shock your amygdala all the time. That's why when you watch modern movies, within a matter of almost seconds, every few seconds, there's some kind of a shock, especially action movies or sci-fi. They make a shock. Now, the amygdala, the trick with the amygdala, that cortisol is addictive. Very, very addictive. More addictive than cocaine. So they shock you, or they scare you, or they give you some kind of news that alarms you, worries you. The cortisol goes into the system. And they do it all the time. All the time. The reason that they have those idiotic masks, complete nonsense. The masks, by the way, are laced in graphene oxide. Graphene oxide kills you. Never, ever wear a mask. That's the most asinine thing they'll ever have. But what they're using it for is what we call cognitive priming. Cognitive priming simply means keep reminding, keep reminding, keep reminding, keep scaring, keep alarm, keep fear up. Every time you see the mask or you have put on the mask, the objective is to protect you and more protect you. There's nothing to protect against in the first place. You are, right now, as you're listening to this, you are covered in viruses. The computer's covered in viruses, and actually in your gut, the gut biome, which gives us our physical life, it runs our whole body, weighs 4 to 5 pounds, and all it is viruses, bacteria, and parasites, and they live in a giant community in your gut. They live in harmony with the body, and that's because your immune system knows how to control it, and that's why you have your life. When you get really scared and there's lots of cortisol, it weakens your immune system, and all the viruses and the bacteria and the parasites, they start to go out of control, and that will take your health down. And they know all of that. Everything I'm telling you, I'm a specialist of the mind and the brain. All of them that run the media and that make all of the garbage pharmaceutical crap, they're enormously sophisticated. The media uses very sophisticated brain control mechanisms, flicker rates, to keep your brain always programmed. That's why when I teach, the number one advice is you must unplug from normal media. Unplug. See, I was never plugged in. All I've ever done all my life is study my crafts under great masters. Never looked at a newspaper in my life, unless it's got a picture of a pretty girl on the page. I don't. I have never. Nothing of the normal modern garbage world ever entered me, and that's why I am who I am. And then, and I can teach what I teach. So the trick is the anxiety They're priming you for it everywhere, all the time. And the fundamental idea is one way or the other, they want you to think you're weak, that you're dependent on them or on everything else, and you have no personal power and all that. It's all nonsense. But it's hard for when people really get programmed, they can't believe that they have power. It's like an anorexic girl. You know, anorexia, they starve themselves, and it's a lot of them that'll kill them. And they're so skinny, they look like someone from Auschwitz. But when they look in the mirror, they see fat. That's their perception. When you look at them, you can see that they're emaciated, but they can't see that. Well, that's what they've done on a global level. So the people who are awake or have some consciousness, God bless them. That's what we need. We need a field of conscious people to combat or at least match the massive global fear community, because their numbers are way ahead of way more. Here in Thailand, you can't hardly find a single human being in all of Asia that isn't utterly programmed. It's unbelievable. Now they represent, I don't know how many, maybe billion people. I don't know, Asia. You have to understand, and if you understand morphic fields with the global collective of humanity, they represent a massive, massive, massive energetic force. And it's a negative force. They're all afraid. They live, they got those masks on. I've seen some of them, they have 2, 3 masks on at the same time. It's unbelievable. But they're all like that. And you have to understand that's a part of the collective consciousness of humanity. So people like myself, this kind of show, we're trying to grow the other side, which is being conscious, feeling empowered, and not being afraid. Because you don't need to be afraid. There's nothing in the air. Just forget about all that stuff.
So,
If you ever got COVID, you call me and I'll get rid of it.
so let's talk about PTSD. You say that you can help people struggling with that. So explain how.
Yeah, I just shut it off. I can shut it off within an hour, and it's gone. What happens with post-traumatic stress syndrome, folks, is when we get a real big shock. So your mind and the brain is basically a recording device. It's a downloading device, and it can both send and receive information. Okay. Now, when we get shocked, something happens really fast or really dramatic, and especially if there's usually with post-traumatic stress syndrome, it'll be laced with emotion. Okay. Emotion is the big boy. So what happens is, instead of processing the information as it's coming in and going out, because it's so fast and so much and so dramatic, it gets stuck. So it's like a movie that's recorded with the detail of 40 million bits of information per second, and it's still playing. So it could have happened 30, 40 years ago, but the subconscious mind has no concept of time. Only the frontal cortex understands future and past. So what post-traumatic stress syndrome is, that movie is there, and then when a environmental trigger turns it on or reminds it, the movie starts to play. And as soon as the movie plays, the same physiology floods the entire body. And you go in, you re-experience the anxiety, the fear, all of that stuff. and it overtakes the person. In really, really, really severe cases, they're like literally living in that state because the movie is so horrible or dramatic, and it shocked the system so strongly. So what I do is all I do is have the person think of their trauma, and I go in and find where the story is recorded in their field. It has a energetic signature, sort of like if you think of radar to find a submarine in the ocean. So that, let's say the ocean is the subconscious, and the post-traumatic stress syndrome shock and the story is this big submarine in the ocean. So you find the with radar or sonar, the submarine has a energetic signature, and that's how you can find it. I find the post-traumatic stress syndrome story, and then I disassemble it. I disassemble it by what is called destructive interference waves. I have empowerments, spiritual empowerments through Tibet that I channel or I send the destructive interference wave. When destructive interference, if you look up destructive interference waves on Google, it's a quantum physics term where two frequencies, when they meet each other, if it's destructive pattern, they cancel to zero. They go flatline. Constructive interference waves, when they meet each other, they increase and they grow because they're resonant together. So I have empowerments through India to send my constructive interference wave. So I just find their post-traumatic stress syndrome story and I shut it off. When I shut it off, it's gone, period, end of story, and never come back. I disintegrate it. Now, what does that mean? It's just like going into a computer and you say delete, and it's gone. That's what I do. Whether it's a chronic disease, whether it's post-traumatic stress, it doesn't make any difference what it is. It's just it's information, folks, that is held in an electromagnetic field. That's your subconscious mind. It's not in your head. Your head is only a antenna system. You don't think in your head. They have that is cutting edge, peer-reviewed science now. They built a machine recently. I think it's called an electroencephalogram. All thinking is occurring outside of your head. The head only picks up the stuff. It's not in there, so it's a field, and the post-traumatic stress syndrome is recorded there. It just happens to be active. So I just disintegrate it. Like the photons of light, if you think of it, you know when you see little soap bubbles and they float up in the air and then they pop? I do that with destructive interference waves, sort of like that. And then the post-traumatic stress syndrome is completely gone. The brain reorganizes through neuroplasticity, and their perception changes. That negative vibration that they were carrying from the post-traumatic stress syndrome is gone. So their vibration rises. They have more energy. Because when that thing is active in you, it takes energy to sustain it. When I'm removing all those negatives, your energy increases and your perception rises and your life changes. Everything goes up. Am I making sense? Can you follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, tell us about any current or upcoming projects that you're working on that people need to know about.
Well, first of all, what I'm doing right here, right now, the world needs help, and it needs help in a very urgent way. And I was pretty much under the radar for so many years while I was developing myself, and now I'm in the public eye. These podcasts are the really big project, so that people understand I'm here and I can help. I can help collectives. I mean, you can give me an entire organization. Like, let's say we have Amazon. I don't know how many employees they have, and let's say the CEOs of Amazon have certain metrics that they want improved in their corporate culture. You just give it to me, and I will clear and alter the entire corporate culture in 1 hour. And I can do that as easy as I can drink a glass of water. So the point of the podcast is that I'm here. I know how to run. The divine gave me these abilities and showed me how to do all this stuff. You can't learn this in school or anything. This depth healing is an organic growth of my life all these years. I'm the living example of what depth healing can do. I used to be as poor as a church mouse, filled with virtual rage. It gave me cancer. My back broke in half from anger when I was 27. And all those things heal naturally. But I've been on the hard side of life. And now with my relationship and bond with the divine, I live almost an angelic life. And I'm here to help. So the podcast push is a way to try to, that's a big project for me. The other thing that I do basically is like today, I have my clients that I see, and I help re-engineer their lives. So I guess you would say the biggest project as far as projects go is what I'm doing right now, so that people understand who I am and what I can do. They can go to my website, contact me directly, and I'll take care of them. And that goes for a group, like I say, if it's a corporation, if it's some kind of a big organization, doesn't make any difference to me what it is. I can help. That I would say that's the project.
Yeah, go ahead and give out your website as we close out.
Yeah. All you do, folks, it's depth healing as one word, depthhealing.org, not .com, .org. And then and I have the Instagram, depth healing Instagram, and they got me. I have a wonderful fella that's my admin, and he handles the website and all that, because I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And he's taking care of all this nice posting, all kinds of nice things. Oh, there is one project I forgot. I'm doing it for the first time on September the 1st. Every month, I'm going to be doing a free collective blessing, because I'm a Diksha blesser. A Diksha blessing means the divine itself will pour through me to the individuals that are attending. And it blesses them, and it alters their brain. It evolves them. Diksha has been studied by functional brain scans, and it lights up the frontal cortex, evolves the frontal cortex, and it disassembles areas in the brain that give you your anxiety, your fear, the triggers that scare you. They just start to dissolve. So every month, once a month, I'm going to be. All you do is come, and you just sit and receive. All of my work is like that. When I do things, I'm not going to give you some meditation. You're not going to have to do anything. The difference between myself, say, and Joe Dispenza, I actually do it for you, and you just receive. And you come in condition A, you leave in condition B. So part of my service for the divine, because that's who I work for, really, I'm going to do once a month now, just a Diksha blessing. And then that's between you and your God, whoever you relate to, or just to the universe, or however. It's not me. Nothing is coming from me. I'm just a channel. Please understand that I don't have any power. I am a channel and only a channel. So when you get a Diksha, it's sort of like a prayer on steroids. You will have the attendees will have their own intention of what they want God to give them, what they want, what they need. The Diksha will endorse that, and it's a gift. That's a new project. That I forgot about that. So anyway, if you have any kind of a problem, or you're scared, or you feel stuck or blocked, just get a hold of me, and I'll take care of it for you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, do it. Check out Dr. G and everything that he's up to. And also, please be sure to follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. Anybody that can benefit from Dr. G's services. If you have any guests or suggestion topics, cjackson102@cox.net is the place to send them. As always, thank you for listening. And Dr. G, thank you for coming on and sharing your 51 years of expertise.
Yeah, Curtis, thank you for having me.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.